Donald Trump just issued a really heated and angry response to a New York Times article that dives deep into his latest cognitive decline. We've seen a bunch of photos of him sleeping in the Oval Office. I mean, we had reports of him sleeping in a Manhattan courtroom a year ago, or I guess a year and a half ago during his campaign when he was going through his trials. He's an old dude. He is the oldest guy to ever be elected to the presidency. Joe Biden was slightly younger when he was elected, meaning when Donald Trump leaves office, he will be older than Joe Biden was. And let me tell you, he is declining faster than Joe Biden was at this point in office. I mean, when Biden left, by the end of his presidency, sure, he had good and bad moments, but Trump is like mostly bad moments 9 or 10 months into his presidency. There were way more articles written about Joe Biden for way less, let me tell you that. So we finally have a New York Times article written, "Shorter Days, Signs of Fatigue. Trump Faces Realities of Aging in Office." Let me remind you of these photos right here. This is the same press conference where somebody, I believe, passed out in the Oval Office, if you remember this. Trump was sleeping moments before. The day before Halloween, President Trump landed at Joint Base Andrews after spending nearly a week in Japan and South Korea. He was then whisked to the White House, where he passed out candy to trick-or-treaters. "This man has been nonstop for days," someone wrote online. A week later, Trump appeared to doze off during an event in the Oval Office. With headline-grabbing posts on social media, combative interactions with reporters, and speeches full of partisan red meat, Trump can project round-the-clock energy and physical stamina, but at the end of his 8th decade, Trump and the people around him still talk about him like he's an Energizer bunny. The reality is more complicated. Mr. Trump, 79, is the oldest person to be elected to the presidency, and he is aging. To preempt any criticism about his age, he often compares himself to President Joe Biden, who at 82 was the oldest person to hold the office, and whose aide took measures to shield his growing frailty from the public. Mr. Trump has hung a photo of an auto pen in a space where Mr. Biden's portrait would otherwise be, and he disparages his predecessor's physicality often, likely because he's insecure about his own age. The auto pen is a projection of insecurity of his own age. Quote, "He sleeps all the time, during the day, during the night, on the beach," Mr. Trump said about Mr. Biden, adding, "I'm not a sleeper." Mr. Trump remains almost omnipresent in American life. He appears before the news media and takes questions far more often than Biden did. Foreign leaders, chief executives, donors, and others have regular access to Trump and see him in action. This is the article that Trump raged about, and I'll show this to you in 1 second. He said, "The creeps at the failing New York Times are at it again. I won the 2024 election by a lot, winning all 7 swing states, the popular vote, the electoral college. I won this. I settled 8 wars, 48 new stock market highs." He is just going, he's going off. And this article isn't even that bad yet. Listen to this. A year into his second term, Americans see Trump less than they used to, according to New York Times analysis. He's had fewer events on his schedule and is traveling domestically much less than he did by this point in 2017. He also keeps a shorter public schedule than he used to. Most of his public appearances fall between noon and 5 p.m. And when he's in public, occasionally his battery shows signs of wear. During an Oval Office event that began around noon on November 6th, Mr. Trump sat behind the desk for about 20 minutes, as executives standing around him talked about weight loss drugs. At one point, Trump's eyelids drooped until his eyes were almost closed. He appeared to doze on and off for several seconds. At another point, he opened his eyes and looked towards a line of journalists watching him. He stood up only after a guest who was standing near him fainted and collapsed. I mean, look at this video of him legitimately dozing off in the Oval Office. This is a really high quality video of him. And then he's playing it off like he's in detention. Bro, you're the president. You're not in detention or some shit. You don't have to act like you are awake. You're good. You can sleep it off. Sleepy Don. Sleep it off. Mr. Trump has prompted additional questions about his health by sharing news about medical procedures he had, but not details about them. While in Asia, Mr. Trump revealed that he had undergone magnetic resonance imaging at Walter Reed Medical Center in early October. "I gave you the full results," Trump told reporters, likely screamed at reporters. Let's continue with this post. He said, "I settled 8 wars. We are respected again. To do this requires a lot of work and energy, and I have never worked so hard in my life. Yet despite all of this, the radical left lunatics and the soon-to-fold New York Times did a hit piece on me that I am perhaps losing my energy, despite facts that show the exact opposite." What facts? Less appearances, more sleepiness. You have solved no wars. I mean, if you even want to say you solved Israel and Gaza, That was true for 12 hours until the ceasefire fell through and the war continued to rage on. Rather one-sided. I mean, Israel continues to strike Gaza over and over and over. Not really the other side around that much nowadays. But, I mean, Donald Trump hasn't solved anything. Affordability is getting worse. We're still sending money overseas with these endless wars, like Israel, helping them strike Gaza. With Ukraine, I actually argue that we should support them, but with military equipment, not money, and we should use the leverage that we have. Trump isn't doing that because he's sleepy, he's low energy, he's dumb. He says, they know this is wrong, as is almost everything they write. This cheap rag is truly an enemy of the people. The writer of the story, Katie Rogers, who is assigned to write only bad things about me, is a third-rate reporter who is ugly, both inside and out. That is one major sign of his cognitive decline. He is now more openly, outwardly misogynistic in a way that he kind of knew to hide 10 years ago. I mean, he still said, grab women by the you-know-what. He still openly bragged about walking in on girls in dressing rooms when they were 16. 16-year-old girls still did say that he walked in on them while they were in dressing rooms because he owned the beauty pageant. He's always been misogynistic, but now it's almost like this angry, bitter, old man, old-fashioned, like he just doesn't know how to hide it. And I'm not saying that all old men are misogynistic. I'm saying that Trump is, and he doesn't know how to hide it anymore. He said, she's ugly both inside and out. Despite all of this, I have my highest poll numbers ever. According to who? According to who? He said, there will be a day when I run low on energy. It happens to everyone. But with a perfect physical exam and comprehensive cognitive test that was aced, just recently taken, it is certainly not now. Brother, you can barely even speak. You can barely even speak. To continue, Trump says, I have no idea what they analyzed. He told reporters on Air Force One recently after he was again asked about his MRI. But whatever they analyzed it well. And they said that I had as good as results as they'd ever seen. Mr. Trump also applies makeup to a bruise on the back of his right hand, adding speculation about a medical condition that a physician and aides say is caused by taking aspirin. In response to a list of questions about Mr. Trump's health, including about the results of his MRI or whether or not he was falling asleep, Caroline Leavitt pointed directly to Mr. Biden. Trump is the one, though, with a droop on the side of his mouth. Look at that droop. You can see the droop right there on the side of his mouth as he sits there and falls asleep and then acts like he's not. We've seen him do this multiple times at funerals, at events, while representing us on the world stage. It is an embarrassment. Our popularity across the globe is going down. The amount of people who are visiting the United States, tourism-wise, is going down, along with all immigration. Donald Trump sits there and says that he likes the fact that we have no immigration, but that means we have no tourism because other countries kind of view us as a joke because we have an old, blobbering, slobbering president all of the time. I'm going to leave it there. If you appreciate the videos we make on the Adam Mockler channel, we make them quick, we make them fast, and we make sure that they are accurate. And make sure you drop a like, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one, and peace out.